Good morning, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. But most importantly, happy birthday to my dog, Miel. And today I am doing a drawing of our relationship and how much I love her, and just, well, not a drawing, a painting, and there's dog hair everywhere. And this is the only room she doesn't enter for some odd reason. I even tried to get her in here to get a photo, but she just didn't want to come. But anyway, yeah, so we're doing a drawing, painting, excuse me, of her and I together, and let's begin. So, first of all, as terrible as it sounds, I don't exactly remember what colors my dog is, and the reason is that she's brindle, so I don't know which color combination. So I'm gonna pull up a photo that could help me out a bit, and then we'll go. As you can see, I've already done the outline. Yeah, so we're gonna start off with, and I don't know if anyone actually watches my painting videos, but the last one I did, I said, next time I am going to buy a spray bottle to help me out with my painting, so that I don't have to constantly have these big pivots or divots in the middle of my painting. Well, as you can see, I still haven't bought one. It's honestly, I just forgot, to be completely honest. That's the only explanation I can give at this moment. But yeah, so we're just gonna continue. She's this beautiful caramel color, and actually everything about her is beautiful. She is just deep. I mean, all dogs are perfect, but she is perfect for me. So yeah. I accidentally messed up this area. Let's see if I can erase it a bit. I mean, it kind of doesn't matter because I'm going to cover it up with paint. But anyway, I need to make her jaw a little bit smaller. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm not usually a big fan of color, what do you call it? Pencil on watercolor paper, even though almost every single drawing I've done on here has included it. The reason being is you can see the smearing and whatnot, and so I just I personally don't like it, but I also know that I'm 95% of the problem, because sorry, my parents are both left-handed, and as a result, I do a lot of things left-handed, and because of this this trait, I always start off on the right side and I move to the left, which is a terrible idea, but unfortunately, it is what it is for me. So yeah, I just have to deal with my insanity. It's also why I found out that I'm not very good at clay throwing, because I was throwing as a right-handed person, but I actually need to throw left-handed just because that's just the way that my body understands the wheel and rotations or whatnot. So it took, I want to say it took them 3 or 4 weeks to figure out. That's why I was having so many issues with clay throwing. I finally made something the other day, so I'm very proud of myself, and hopefully I can show off what I've made. But for now, I just it's just one mug, but one mug is better than no mug, which is where I was standing for a while. So yeah, yeah, we're throwing. So there's 2 things that are happening today. The first one is we're going to a burger restaurant that really likes dogs, and I already told them about it. They're really excited to meet her and throw her, make her a burger. The second one is tomorrow, a few friends. This was tentative because of how sick I was, but looks like it's gonna happen. A few friends, meaning one family and one friend, are coming over to have Korean barbecue in celebration of her birthday. And of course, she's gonna get a cake. I'm gonna make it today, and I'm not really sure if I'm going to post the baking process of the cake. I might. In fact, that's one thing I need to do. So my personal favorite cake is red velvet cake, and I need to buy I think I have most of the ingredients, but I need to make sure that I have all the ingredients for red velvet cake. And then we'll go from there. And then we're going to make her ears a little bit darker. Yeah, so if my dog's not shedding, I'm shedding. It's really annoying. So on to the main subject here. Well, I mean, I've been talking about her, but on to the main subject. So 3 years ago, I was extremely depressed. I've mentioned it a few times in the channel as to why, but I'm not going to give the person credit for what happened to me, because no, it is what it is. Okay? And the more I talk about him, what happened, the more power he gets from me. And he does not deserve any power from me. So, I was extremely depressed, and I was really struggling at the time because my boyfriend, the drug dealer, who I didn't know was a drug dealer, was, he was being very shady, and it's because I found out that he was still talking to, he said that he broke up with her, but turns out he hadn't. He was still talking to his girlfriend, and I think they're married now, to be completely honest. And so I was just like super struggling with what was going on at work, what was going on in my relationship, and considering the fact that he pursued me, I didn't want a relationship. And eventually I just broke down because I have no self-control. And so I just wanted something or someone to love me when I got home. So there was one day in January of 2022, because I had just gotten back from Germany and I was feeling very lonely and confused. And I was looking at a whole bunch of dogs that needed to be adopted. So I sent in applications, but because my job is very, I'm often somewhere that's not anywhere near home. A lot of people looked at my application and was like, why would this person want a dog? It's almost like, it's not animal abuse, but it could be, just because like she's gone so often. And so a lot of dog agencies didn't want to even look at me because they're like, this girl is never home. So why would we want to give her a dog that's never home when she's never home? So I was starting to get discouraged, and I saw this beautiful, and obviously this video will be smeared with photos of her because she's, again, extremely gorgeous. I'm gonna flip this just so that I don't, because that's one thing I'm not good at, is I always forget to flip the canvas, because I can. But anyway, so this beautiful brown dog with floppy ears came up on my feed, and I'm like, this is the most beautiful dog I'd ever seen. And so I submitted an application, and they sent me an email back almost immediately, and they're like, we need a photo of you. And so I sent them a photo of me. And after maybe, I would like to say 30 minutes, it wasn't long at all, I got they called me, and they're like, we'd like for you to adopt her. At the time, her name was Honey. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like, you guys just got my application and everyone else has been rejecting me. And they're like, no, we think you're a good fit for Honey. I'm like, okay, that sounds interesting. But the problem is, I live 2 hours away from the shelter, and it's going to snow this weekend. So I just like, I am extremely nervous as to why you guys really want me to adopt her this weekend. And they're like, she's your dog. And I'm like, how are you guys so sure? I mean, I don't know anything about her. I just saw her picture, thought she was beautiful, and that's honestly the most very superficial. They're like, no, we know that she's your dog, you need to come over. So I called a friend who I don't talk to anymore because he ended up being kind of a terrible person. I'm very forgiving and I'm very kind to everyone when they don't deserve it, and he was also not a very good person and tried to take advantage of me. And so I asked him, "Hey, are you busy this Saturday? I need you to help me pick up a dog." And he's like, "Wait, do you realize that there's snowstorms coming in? They told me that they want me to pick her up on Saturday." And they're like, "Why the rush? Is she unadoptable?" And I said, "I don't know. She looks very sweet, but I just I don't know." So we ended up leaving at like 4 in the morning to try and beat the storm. They said that they'd open up super early so that we could get back. And we get in and the receptionist is like, "Oh, yeah, you're here for Honey." And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "Oh my gosh, I hope this works out." I'm like, "What do you mean?" "Well, Honey's rejected 50 something people." And I'm like, "That's not comforting." And she's like, "No, no, 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 no. But we think you're the one." I'm like, "You probably said that to every single person that walked in." And they're like, "No, no, there's a reason why we think you're the one, and you'll find out when you get here, when you meet her." And I'm like, "We just drove 2 hours and I'm about to get rejected by a dog." I don't know how I feel about that. So then they put me in a room because I don't know how adoption policies work wherever you guys live, but for me, adoption policies in the US, you have to sit in a waiting room and wait for the dog to greet you and spend a little bit of time with them before they realize you're a good fit. So I'm sitting in the waiting room, and at the time this is like COVID is kind of dying out or not becoming as much of a thing, so I'm definitely wearing a mask. And I decided to take a mask off because I'm like, if the dog's gonna like me, she's gonna see my face. And so I hear scuttling outside of the room. And I'm like, "Oh my god, it's her. I hope she likes me," all these feelings and whatnot. And so I hear scuttling outside of the room, and I see this beautiful, beautiful dog that was advertised as 20 pounds, and she actually ended up being about 50. So I was kind of shocked at how tall she was because she's not fat. I mean, she's not muscular, she's just really tall. And so first of all, I was surprised at her size because I'd only really my only dog that I ever dealt with was Toby and Kiki. Toby was 8 pounds and Kiki is 12. So I was like, oh my god, I don't know what I'm gonna do because my apartment's not that big and my pet limit is 30 pounds. So mentally I'm freaking out, but I see her and she walks up to the room and is crawling on the floor because she's so scared. And I look at her, I get on the floor and I take my mask off and I'm like, "Hi, honey." And she just very slowly crawls up to me and licks my face. And so of course they're just like, "Wow, this is perfect. She likes you. And I'm like, "How are you guys so sure that she was my dog?" And they said, "You remember the picture that you sent in, the selfie? Well, we wanted to try something different, and because of the so when we wanted to try something different, we asked for you to send a selfie to see how she'd react." And I'm like, "Yeah." And they said, "She pawed at your face." And I just broke down in tears because I needed her and she needed me. As it turns out, she's also, I've mentioned it a few times, she's kind of a sickly dog. And so the first year we spent a lot of money on surgeries or whatnot. She's somewhat fine now. She does still get sick, but it's not as often as before, and I think a lot of it had to do with the stress of my previous job and what was happening. And I can't tell you how many times this dog has saved my life. There were times where I'd just be standing in the kitchen with either a knife or a pill or something and just thinking about it, and she would just come in and knock it out and go, "How dare you? you're mine now, you know. And then of course I'd like call the people that I needed to call just to like, hey, I need help. But she, again, I couldn't have asked for a better dog for my first dog, especially as an adult. She's so sweet, she's so loving. She's actually a trained therapy dog, and I haven't gotten her recertified since we moved here. And the reason's twofold. One, I've been super busy since I moved here, and two, just I've been really sick since I moved here. I moved from a low altitude state to a high altitude state, and the adjustment I still struggle with. So as a result, I haven't exactly had the time or energy to really keep up her training. She's still a good dog, but she makes a lot of mistakes now, and she's developed habits that we were able to curb back where we used to live, but I haven't I haven't really given it the attention that it deserves to address it correctly. Yeah, so let me just, okay, so my favorite part about her, she has these little freckles on the top of her head, and it just like, oh, it just makes me so happy. Yeah, let me actually add some fuchsia. Oh my god, yeah, let me just add some fuchsia to the hat, just to give it some pop of color. And yeah, so that's my story of how Honey became Miel. And Miel was chosen because initially all my dogs, Toby and Kiki, well, Kiki was named after Kiki's Delivery Service, the Ghibli film, and Toby was named Toby followed someone home, and that someone knew we wanted a dog. And so we looked up names, and Toby means kite in Japanese, or to fly. So we were like, that matches. So we just named Toby Toby. And Toby flew. He that dog liked to fall out of anything that was high. It was both funny and terrifying, because I was always worried, especially since Toby passed when he was that's a little darker than I wanted it to be. Toby passed when he was almost 25, but like if there was a height, somehow he'd get on it and he'd jump, just because he was pretty much the closest thing to a cat that a dog could be. But because he would only show up for meals, he would only show up to meals. He wouldn't cuddle you, but but when he did, he just wanted to be carried, so he didn't have to walk. Just all these like crazy antics that Toby had, and he was a great dog, super smart, super we didn't have to really worry about him much. Kiki, on the other hand, is terrified of Miel because of Miel's size, and we always do this. It's kind of a joke in the family, but it kind of works. We have to do something called a Kiki test. So my sister used to bring her former exes to meet the family, just because, you know, she wanted to marry them. She wanted to see how the family reacted. And every person failed the Kiki test except for her current husband. So that's how we kind of knew that they were meant to be. So yeah. So we've got, I need to dilute that a bit. I'm going to add some pink to my cheeks, even though I'm actually a little darker than this. I'm still a little bit uncomfortable of making my skin darker. I mean, what I might do is I might just layer it some more, and I think that will work. But yeah, like, I totally messed this up. Let's see if I can dilute it a bit more. But yeah, so we have something called a Kiki test, where Kiki tests out our potential, you know, husbands or whatnot, and if they pass, we know that it's going to work because Kiki's comfortable with them, and Kiki's not comfortable with anyone. So none of my exes have ever met Kiki, so as a result, we don't know, and she's getting older in age, so we'll see. But yeah, but Miel loves everyone, regardless of who you are and your relationship to me, except for She can tell if I'm uncomfortable with you. So that's a plus because I use that as a gauge now. If Miel doesn't like you, then I know that I need to avoid you. Yeah, but anyway, oh sorry, that was a huge tangent. Because I love and miss Toby. I still think about him every day. I have a little shrine. But Miel, she was initially going to be named Asahi, which means morning light in Japanese. And honestly, like if you look at photos of her, which again are going to be posted on the screen because I have way too many photos of her, and she deserves to be shown off. I mean, I've mentioned before that she has her own Instagram page, which isn't doing well because I'm extremely lazy, and I also am not very good. It's also the reason why this page doesn't have its own Instagram, just because I have my own personal Instagram and I have this one. But I like. It's too much work just handling 2 pages alone. So she has her own Instagram page, and it's it will be linked below. But she looks amazing in the morning light, but it's just she was so sweet. Like all she does is hug and love you. And so Asahi didn't quite fit. Well, I mean it still does, because if you look at her in the morning light, she glistens, but just with her sweetness, her temperament, just everything about her, she made more sense to be a honey, and that's what she was. But then I was like, I personally don't really like the name honey. Not that it's a bad name, just it just seemed too plain for her. So I went through and I'm like, what languages do I know the name honey in? I started off with Mel, because Mel is honey in Portuguese. Then I moved to Meli, which is honey in Greek, because again I was going to the Greek church. And then I was like, no, nothing really fits. And then I started thinking to my French background, and I was like, Miel. And it just made sense after that moment. Let me just dilute this. Even though she does have these freckles, they're a little bit more muted. I don't know if I can really mute them at this point, but because I made them too dark, but it's okay. Sorry, focusing. Hyperfocus. Yeah. And then we'll add some more dark brown to like cover it up a bit, and then because maybe that will help mute it a little bit more. I think that's the best I can do. As much as I love the freckles are mine. I see them every day. I kiss them every day. So yeah, like I think that was the wrong brown, but okay. Yeah, so yeah. But anyway, yeah, so that's the story of how Miel became Miel, and she's still perfect in every way, even though she's developed some bad habits because I haven't been addressing them. But I will this summer once I have a little bit more time. And yeah, so let's see if this is dried a bit. Yeah, that's dried. Okay, so now we're gonna go over this. I never used to do this when I started watercolor, mostly because I like to keep things airy, but I've noticed that this does help. So I'm gonna, and when I say this does help, it's more the fact that it gives depth to it, or at least an organization to it that I was never able to give it on my own. Okay, so that's... And then it's hard to tell in the photos, but she's got these gorgeous eyelashes. But it's going to be a little bit hard to depict, so I'm just going to make her waterline really dark. Okay, then we're going to make her nose a little bit, yeah. Oh, my little girl. Okay. She is also, that's still wet. Okay, she is also known as a dog of many nicknames. Well, by me, because she has so many nicknames through me that, yeah. And I think that's all I'm gonna do. Let's see how it looks. I think that's all I'm gonna do when it comes to the line art, but thanks for watching, and I really do appreciate the fact that you watched this video to help me appreciate my dog and her importance in my life. I actually hope to make this channel more of an artwork channel over a finance channel, but it's been a bit busy these days. But again, I appreciate you guys watching this and hearing our story, and hopefully you can hear more.